Hello, everyone. Karen Glasser here, and I'm here with my co host, Rob Glasser. Welcome to another episode of Minding Your Mental Health. We talk about mental health, teach the importance of inclusion, and share why we should be kind. We hope to see you each week as we talk about the topics that shape mental health today. So, whether you're here live or on replay, we're thrilled. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments below. So, Rob, I'm excited about our topic today. It's about how to live a fulfilling life. So, I'd first like to introduce a gentleman by the name of Chris Tuch. He's the creator of hustlingforhappiness.com. It was established in 2018 with the desire to help motivate and inspire as many people as possible. He wrote a powerful article about 7 powerful questions to ask for a fulfilling life. That is the foundation of today's conversation. So, let's do this. Let's talk about those 7 powerful questions. What are they?
All right, so the first one is, what brings me my highest joy? Well, actually, I can go in right now as to what I feel fulfillment means by using that question. Fulfillment doesn't necessarily mean you have to be happy, la-di-da all the time. So what brings me my highest joy is when I do what I got to get done. I appreciate those who help, and I am gracious for what comes of it. So whether it's doing all my habits during the day, whether it's taking a few minutes to just relax and chill, or whether it's doing something of importance like a chore, whether it's doing my laundry, feeding the dogs, whatever it may be. That's what brings me the most joy because I accomplished what I desire to do.
Good answer. In my case, I would actually say, and I didn't even discuss this with you beforehand, what's bringing me right now the greatest joy are doing shows with you. It's unusual. I mean, I think if somebody had told either one of us, several years ago that the two of you are going to sit on a camera and talk about stuff, I would have said, thanks for playing. But clearly, here we are. And I have to tell you, Rob, it brings me great joy, first of all, to see how you have grown, and also to see how you've grown in the mental health community and what you're doing out there. So that brings me a tremendous amount of joy. So that's my answer for that one. What's the second one? What would be a second powerful question?
All right, so the next one that he wrote down was, what does the best version of me or my life look like? Kind of a little loaded question, right? Because I think everybody's going to have their individual answer. The best version, I think, is the growing and doing every day. I think the best version does not necessarily have to be a final outcome. I've talked in therapy and other ways that the best version is continuing to learn. So for me, the best version is not one purpose, but it's every time I find out something new, every time I add a new habit to my routine, every time I learn something. I watch a lot of History Channel. I read a lot of
Right.
books. And every time I learn something I didn't know before, that's a better version. The next best version. It's like me 2.0, 3.0, whatever number you want to go up to. But yeah, I mean, it's loaded because it's definitely one of those questions you would see on like a high school, let's talk about yourself test.
Or a job interview.
Job interview. There you go. Yeah. But I would say the best version is the one that doesn't actually have a finality, but one that grows and learns in any form, whether it's psycho or mental, whether it's physical, whether it's important, not important. It's learning that I think makes you the best you can be, so to speak.
I agree. It's a tough question. And as you're answering, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not really sure what the best version of my life looks like, other than to say I can talk about specifics. The best version of my life would be that I get to spend time with my family. The best version of my life is that I can do the work that I want to do. And I think it comes down to that, is that I'm showing up in those aspects of my life the best way that I can. And so that becomes
good, if you're not going to do it fully, don't show up to the thing. Only show up if you're going to like.
Exactly. I like to say that I give 150% of my time, and you know that's true. I don't do anything not just halfway. I don't even do it 100% way. I always like to give a little bit more than people expect, because that's who I am, and I want people to walk away and say, "Wow, that was really cool." So that would be my best version, I guess.
No,
What's the next one?
so the next one here is what steps can I take today that will move me toward my dreams? So obviously we've talked about self-reliance is a big deal for everybody. So really the steps that I can take today or any day is pushing me towards doing that. So whether, monetizing, whether finding that home that makes me feel like a home versus a house,
Right.
But again, the steps really are they're different, not necessarily person to person, but how you do them. Like you obviously do everything the same way,
Right.
but you do it your own same way, if that makes sense. So whereas, I'm not going into the business force and, doing a lawyer or doing a whatever, I'm not going to go, do that. I'm going to find ways to do what I got to do in the ability that I can. Yes, you guys know from my other episodes and from here that the limitations do cause me to only be able to do it. But at the same time, because I can give, like you said, 150%
Right.
to one thing, it allows me to move forward to what I got to do. And yes, we joke, it's going to take a while. It's not an overnight success. We'd all love it to be. You wake up in the morning with $1 billion in your account. It kind of reminds me of that Vanderchuck guy who's like, oh, you can wake up tomorrow with, nah, he's cool. But yeah, the steps you take are really what's going to work. I hate the books that say, do X, Y, and Z, and that's the only way to get it done.
Right.
And I know for a while, when you were doing business before, the books would always say, you have to do it this way. You have
Right.
to do it now. I like it now that you can pick and choose, collage your
I
things.
love that collage. I love that.
I just made that up right now. Thank you. But yeah, I mean the steps are there, and actually one thing I'd bring up is the steps can change. So we when we do the after video stuff here, we might for one video do something, realize oops that didn't work, so we'll do a different way. It's still the same step, but it's a different way of going about it, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I would say. I don't know, kind of a long-winded answer, but
It makes steps. It makes steps. It makes sense,
yeah,
and I'm going to talk about steps. I am all about structure. I'm all about having my things that I do every day. I have a morning routine, which, by the way, we're going to be talking about next week. We're going to talk about morning routines. But for me, literally, when you say what steps can I take today to be the best, what to move me towards my dreams, and that would be literally doing those things every morning that I have made a commitment to myself to do, and that includes all sorts of stuff, meditation, and I take the dog who's barking at me right now, take the dog for a walk. I have that stuff, and that makes it easier for me to get closer to where I want to be, because when I don't do those things, I feel like I take a step back.
and I just want to add in too, because they say the word dreams, but I think they can change daily as well. Your
Mhm.
dream doesn't have to be the same thing all the time.
Right.
So as long as you're doing something that's going towards what you want generally,
Right.
that's good. You're no pun intended, but you're a step in the right direction. Too many
Exactly.
easy jokes right there.
Exactly. I love this next question.
This one's another of those weird ones like a job interview too.
Yeah.
How can I be of better service? I feel like oh, the waiter at the restaurant. What can I do for you? Uh, so better service. I guess probably makes sense to kind of quickly make a definition of it. For me, better service I think is what can you do to just generally help. Not necessarily it's got to be an individual. Just generally, what can you do to make the world a better place, and they always joke, smile at the person down the street
Right.
or,
Pay it
wave
forward.
at the
Pay it
delivery
forward.
man, which probably will make you be like, why are you waving at me? So how can I be? I don't know. This one is one of the few that really is difficult to answer. Um, I would say just kind of keep on doing what I'm doing, I guess, to the fullest extent. I guess it depends on the service that needs to be given. I don't know. What do
You
you
know,
think?
there's an acronym. What's in it for them? With it, and we always talk about that in whatever we do and however we show out. What's in it for the customer or the client or your friend or your family member? What's I'm going to put you on solo and talk a little bit about that while I let the dog out of the room. All right?
Sounds good. All right, so I will take over for a minute. So she actually made a very good. I'm sorry, she made some very good points. So, what can you do now? The customer thing actually brings me back to when I was working at the bookstore, my own bookstore, but also the other bookstore. What can I do to make it easier? And it actually was really simple. It wasn't a matter of telling them or finding what they were looking for. Sometimes the best customer was the one who's like, hey, I want to read about dogs. What do you have?
Right.
Okay, sure. Come on over. Da, 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 one of these
Right.
three. Check it out. If you don't like that, check out the rest. Let me know what else you got. It was as simple as just saying, I'll give you my opinion. I'll give you my thoughts. You take it as the
Right.
step where you want to go.
Right, right. And in my case, when I'm doing stuff, I want to make sure that everything I'm doing, it's not all about me.
Right.
It's about the person that I'm working with. So what's in it for them? And it's actually an acronym with it. I mean, we use it all the time in business. What's in it for them? Not what's in it for me, but what's in it for them. And everything that I do, I think I frame in my mind,
Okay.
what can I do to show up even more? And it kind of goes with my answer before, right? Show up with more than they ever expected. So that's how I show up with more service or better service.
Okay. I'll take that. That's
Okay. All
all
right.
right. The next one up here. Am I chasing perfection or progress?
Love
It's funny. I can see where this guy was writing his blog from, but at the same time, it's like these are the things you would do when you're, trying to get a job. So, am I chasing perfection or progress? I would like to say progress. Perfection obviously is one of those bad words. It's a four-letter word. But really, at the same time, I mean, perfection can just be getting your chores done. I mean, if you are happy after you finish doing your chores
that.
and that's perfection, cool, go for it.
Right.
At the same time, progress also could maybe be a bad word as well because what are you really progressing from? Like, and it goes back to my when I studies, history stuff like that. The shows that always interest me the most are when you see how far different things have come. For instance, there's a whole series on History Channel, the businesses that shaped America. So
Mhm.
Carnegie Steel, the railroads, all that stuff. And that's when I think about what progress and perfection mean because it's great that it's done. It's great that we have it, but what did they exactly prove or do now that we're here? And a lot of it's kind of now ancient history, ancient. So for me, when you say chasing progress person, I would say really neither. I'd say I'm just kind of chasing the goals that I'm trying to do, which could be perfection, could be progress. But in my terms, I'm just chasing what I feel is good and what makes me appreciative. So I would change the word to, what am I chasing? And I would say appreciation and gratitude.
Right, right. And I like to say that perfection is boring because that's how I feel. And there, especially if I'm a control freak. I like to control everything around me and I want it to be exactly perfect. However, I am a big enough girl to understand that perfect is not necessarily what we want to strive for. We want to strive for the best that we can be, whether it's perfect or not. And I do like the idea of progress because I think progress kind of defines moving a step forward. Progress is always, to me, goes forward rather than backwards. If you're making progress, you're moving forward. And I think that sometimes we can look at what we're doing and say, I've made progress. I've gone from here to here. I've learned how to do this, and now I can do this. That would be progress. But I tend to, if I have to pick those two words, and I agree with you, I'm not sure those two words are the best. I like the way you put it. But I go far away. I run away from perfection. I work hard not to be perfect. In fact, I celebrate myself when I actually make a mistake. And let's talk about a little bit Zentangle. Zentangle, the art that I talk about all the time, is all about there are no mistakes. There's no such thing as what it means to be perfect. And for somebody like me who's always, doing that, that's why I like Zentangle, because I can make mistakes and it's okay. And that's kind of an interesting thing that I just realized as I was talking. Zentangle is my not. It's okay not to be perfect. You can make mistakes.
And actually, it's funny on our calm calendar day, one of the days this month, it literally just says, "Remember, it's okay to make a mistake." And it's funny because you laugh at that, but you're like, "Okay,
Yeah,
that's okay, that's cool, I get it,"
exactly.
Um, okay, so the next one, how can I improve by 1%? Um, I mean, I feel like I'm answering the same answer and over again, but I think anything I do generally is an improvement by 1%. And actually, this takes me to my day to day thing. And, this is, I've done via my therapist, we talked about it. Instead of looking at what's to come, which is great for me because I too many things I can't do. I do my day to day. So and every night before we go to bed, Kristen and I will be like, so what are we looking forward to tomorrow? And we'll list off, the 5 things that we're looking forward to, but not until the end of the day, because the point of the day is to do what you're doing. So before we ask that question to each other, we say, what did you like about today? And it makes us go back and go, okay, what did I do today? Well, I got to do this. I got to watch this show. We got to eat this really good food, whatever it was. And that's how you can improve by just 1%, by just sticking to the moment of the time. So, yeah, I mean, the best way to say it, how can I improve? It's just by continuously enjoying the moment. So, for
Right.
instance, doing the video right now, enjoying the moment of the video.
Right. And taking those and the whole idea of 1%, they've talked about habits. I mean, I've read a tremendous amount of books that talk about habits. And if you just incrementally change one little thing and
Right,
then add another little thing, and that's when I see 1%, that's kind of what comes to mind is what can I do? What little step can I do right this minute to take me to the next place that I need to be? And I think that in anything that you're doing, if you remain stagnant
right,
and don't go either way, backwards or forwards, I think that's really boring. I think that that's like why I always want to be moving incrementally,
right.
making progress, however we want to say it, at least 1%, and create those habits on top of habits on top of habits. And that to me is what that's all about. How about the next one?
All right. Well, I would hope to say that the answer to this is appreciation. But the question is, do I appreciate those in my life or take them for granted? I would say I would hope I appreciate,
Mhm.
and I think I show it generally. But again, it's not the gift giving. It's not the having to continuously say, "Oh, good job." It's just the show again, the showing up. I think that's our phrase of it's the Sesame Street phrase of the day, showing
Right.
up.
Showing up.
But I think that's how you show appreciation. And you can use your resources. So if you know some like people that do certain things and you expand that way. So you can use your resources without taking for granted. And that's where this question, I really don't like how he worded this question. I really think this is more of like, how do you show appreciation or how do you use the
Right.
help that you give? So anytime that someone's like, hey, I got this cool thing, sure, I'll take advantage of that. I'll go grab that and use it. I'm
Right.
not taking advantage of the situation or the person. I'm just saying, hey, I got a free pass to do something. Let's try it out and see what happens.
Right.
And that's where it is. So, you know, overall, because this was the last question here, overall, I wouldn't say these are the best wordings, but I do see where he was coming from as far as trying to get you to turn the gears.
And really, this discussion is all about seeing life from appreciation and gratitude rather than what we seem to read a lot is how do you find happiness? What's the search of what makes you happy? So I really like the idea of appreciation and gratitude. And in fact, when I do my meditation in the morning, one of the things I do is a gratitude meditation to
Okay.
remind me that I do have so much to be grateful for. And when I take the dog for a walk, I don't just take the dog for a walk. I'm looking around at the flowers and the trees and thinking, God, it's so hot out here. But meaning that I'm appreciating what is out in the world, and in turn, that makes me happy, right? I mean, isn't that the whole idea of this? Is that if we can see life and appreciate and be grateful, then in fact, happiness is going to just be there.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. I mean, I don't like those things that are like, oh, find your happy. Oh, happiness is kind of overrated. But yeah, in order to do that, and actually, I'm glad you brought the meditation because when I do mine too, I think about other people, like
Right.
family, my wife, my pets. Just naturally, it's like I'm not just making sure I'm okay, but I'm making sure everything around me is going well. And copacetic is one of my favorite words. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a matter of I feel like I'm saying appreciation over and over, but it's a matter of appreciating the appreciation. You wake up and and I think one of the routines that I saw on YouTube, I'm following a lot of people doing morning routines, and one of them was just like when you wake up, think of the first thing you want to do and just kind of do that and make that the start of your day. Don't think about anything else. Don't worry about anything. Just kind of wake up and go, what do I want to do today? And
Right.
you
And
know,
another thing that might be kind of fun to do and get you into a habit is maybe at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, list 3 things that you're grateful for,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
right? Have a gratitude journal. So, I mean, there's all different kinds of journals you can have. I have a journal that I write in, but in that journal, I also will write down things that I'm grateful for. And sometimes it's the same thing every single day, because that's really what I'm grateful for. So for those of you who are just, tuning in and you're listening to this, that might be kind of fun thing to do. And maybe it's in the beginning of the day when you wake up. I'm up. I'm grateful. I woke up today. It's sunny outside, or it's whatever it is, and start that habit. Because when I like to do it in the morning. At night, I'm too tired and I forget. But in the morning, it starts your day with gratitude. I mean, how can you not have a good day when you literally start the day saying, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful I have food to eat. Whatever those things are. Do you do a gratitude thing?
Well, for me, it's just I do the what do I want to do today? What's my one goal for the day? And I think of that. But what I actually today on our calm calendar, it was make a to be list, and a
I
to
love
be
that.
list is basically it's a few words that you want to fulfill that day, and it's kind of cool. I actually think I might want to add that into my regular thing. But really, it's just a matter of you picking words. So, for instance, today, my words were appreciative and gracious, loving, and helpful. Oh, helpful and productive. Those are my 4 words, and it was really cool because I didn't know what a to be list was. I looked it up on the internet, and I was like, oh, it's literally a to-do list, but with adjectives, and it's adjectives to
Right.
describe you. So I'm glad you said that because I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, no, it's what for me. It's picking what I want to do, doing my morning meditation, and usually by then I can start the day, do my stuff, and just kind of keep going from there.
Right. And this is, I'd love to get your opinion on this, about, because this is going to lead into next week. And we want you to tune in next week, because we're going to give you some really specific, helpful hints on how to have a good morning routine. Rob does something different than I do, but there are some certain things that we do actually the same thing. So when you're thinking about this, and when you're thinking about starting your day and being grateful, and if you say, today I am going to look at everything through grateful eyes, or
Yeah,
through appreciative eyes, and if you make that commitment, I don't think either one of us is saying that that's going to be easy all day long and you're just going to be grateful. No, you're not. But when you start with that decision, it's a decision, right? We make decisions every day, whether we're going to be appreciative or whether we're just going to say, "Ugh, this day is just ugh," right? We have to physically and mentally make that decision. Would you agree?
yeah, and as you know, for the past month, I was keeping the momentum going, is what I was calling it. And really, even after 30 days, it's hard to actually not just do the things
Mm-hmm.
because I've been doing them for so long. So now it's weird to go backwards and do something I was, because I'm like, that just doesn't feel right.
Right. Right.
So, and it doesn't have to be the whole month. I think, a couple weeks or whatever you want to do. But the fact that I purposely made, that month, I'm like, I'm just going to just do my thing. And I used to ask her at the beginning of the month, like, did I keep my momentum up? Now I'm just like,
You did.
I'm doing my thing. So yeah, and especially the topic next time. For me, my official day starts a little bit later than others. So my morning routine starts a little bit earlier, and it leads into what my first activity or job of the day is
Right.
around 10 a.m. But yeah, it's hard, but it's not once you realize how not hard it actually is. If that makes sense.
No, it does. It
It's
does. Yeah, I think we all get caught up in, oh, it's too hard to do. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to remember that I have this routine. I'm not. And yes, maybe the first couple of days, maybe in the first week, you're having to literally put a post-it note next to your, as you get out of bed, oh, don't forget to go do that. I have gotten to the point because I've been doing this for so long that on the few days that I don't do it, I feel it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it makes me remember I have to do that tomorrow. Or if I didn't meditate, I'll make a point of meditating at night because I know if I haven't. Truly, I do know if I haven't. Let's give some people where they can go check out Chris Tooch at hustlingforhappiness.com. He's got some interesting things there. It's a blog. Go and read it, and we'd love to hear what you think about him. You can go visit Rob on his website, altereduniverse.live, and you're on LinkedIn, Rob Glasser, and then you also have your YouTube at Altered Universe, and also Altered Universe 1 on Twitter, and finally, we love that nerd stuff. So go and check out the nerd store, Stay Nerdy shop. Really cool things. We're going to do a show on that, aren't we? We're going to show some of this really fun stuff.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. And as we do every time, we want to give you resources. So as you're watching the show and you need some support, you need some help, let's give you some support right now. You can go check out NIMH at .gov, NIH.gov. That is the governmental institution that has information on mental health. You have NAMI, which is nami.org. Again, information for you. And if you haven't already looked at this, you've got 988. It is the new short code that you can call if you are having a situation and you need to talk to somebody. And it's a central locating center, right? And they'll. And you said, I think a couple of weeks ago, they're also helping with veterans. It's a veteran resource.
Yeah, I read somewhere that I think you can hear veterans resources as well.
Right, exactly. I'm on Caren Glasser everywhere. You can just look for me. We hope that you enjoyed today. And if you have, any ideas that you'd like to share with us, make sure you put it in the comments because I do go back and I'll take a look at them. Rob does as well. I go to my stuff, Rob goes to his stuff, and we'll make comments back. We would love to hear from you. And again, tune in next week because we're going to give you our morning routines. We can't wait to see you. So go out, as I like to say, give someone an awesome day, and we'll see you next time on Minding Your Mental Health.